Jen, what do you think about preparing and having like notes? Like, do you think that's a positive thing? Like, obviously you're not in the office or in their environment face to face. Like, what do you think about that side of things?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I think obviously people prepare in completely different ways. What I sometimes say to people is that if they feel that it would be helpful to have prompts, so for example, often interviews are competency based, so they're asking for people to give examples based on past experience, and in the person's specification there's going to be, the areas that they're looking for in a candidate. So you might want to have a couple of post-its kind of stuck on the wall behind where your computer or your laptop is, or a couple of notes beside. But really, just as a prompt, I would recommend just having, a couple of words, a really brief sentence, just really to jog your memory.
Dress as though you were meeting that person in person, and as long as you're comfortable, but I would kind of err on the side of like, yeah, you would wear that if you were going into the interview in their office or another place face to face.
What are your tips, Kevin, for getting the setup right for online interviews?
Yeah, I think technology is obviously key to all of this, and I think forgetting to check everything can be a bit of a pitfall, and just making sure that you've gone through those checks, either testing with another computer or testing with a family friend, and just making sure that the audio sounds good. If there's any headphones, like make sure they're working. Just running through those checks, really making a list of things that you want to tick off before you jump into that call and join that team's interview.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I do with the candidates that are interviewing is offer some prep. So usually we do that through a Teams call. So it's quite a good opportunity to give someone to practice. And things like, kind of making sure that your head is in the right place, kind of in the middle of the screen, making sure that you've got a comfortable setup as well. I think in terms of some of the other practicalities, making sure that you've got a really clear space kind of around where you are, and that, as I say, you're comfortable. So, is there a table that you can sit at? Be really aware of what's behind you. And there is a function on Teams and Zoom to blur your background. I think thinking about lighting, there's loads of things, isn't there, to think about. But I think obviously with an online interview, you've got the opportunity to actually take some time and think, where is it best for me to have the interview? I think one of the other things is for people to be really comfortable and confident, knowing that they can ask for, things around accessibility. So, feel as if you're confident to ask for what you need. So sometimes we have situations where people may, for whatever reason, not want to have their video on. Other things like, not everybody is actually going to have access to a piece of technology in order to do an online interview. So whether that's a tablet or a laptop. So, being able to ask if you do need something. There is the technology to do auto transcribing or live. You could ask for the interview to be transcribed live. And I think, again, that will help if some people have that need. What are your thoughts around somebody doing an online interview who perhaps lives in a house share, or maybe they've got childcare responsibilities, or they live in a multi-generational home? Would you recommend headsets, or what would you do in that situation?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. I guess talking to your housemates or your family members and actually just giving them advance warning of the time that your interview is going to be taking place. maybe asking them to be considerate of during that period, keep the noise down if possible. But headsets really do help block out outside noise. They help you focus on the screen, I think. And it also does give a bit of clarity to your voice as well.
And I think one of the other things, thinking about like background noise, it's maybe worth considering if you are on your laptop, turning off alerts, so closing Outlook or whatever apps you've got open to make sure that you're not distracted by things popping up. I think the only other thing that I would maybe add is, obviously in a face-to-face interview, you can see someone being a bit more animated because you can see more than just kind of head and shoulders. So if there's a way to really try and give positive body language through an online interview, whether that is through eye contact, or I did a preparation interview with someone the other day, and they were, kind of leaning forward and smiling as if they were really engaged in that question and answer, then that would be, I think that would be another tip that I'd have.